So Dr. Morne, tell us a little bit about what you do and what our support for you does for your service.
Basically, I'm a reproduction specialist, a veterinarian but reproduction specialist. And I do work in many different species, and I also work around the world, so not only here in Africa. But our main aim at the moment, our last aim is to get fertility in rhinos up and upgraded to a good quality. And with the support from the DEC Georgia chapter, we definitely have the ability to spend money at the research to improve the fertility in southern white rhino. And as we understand it and know about it, is that the numbers have plummeted on white rhinos. I mean, obviously there's just 2 northern white rhinos left in the world. The southern white rhinos have deteriorated by more than 50% in the last 3 years, and that's due to poaching. But at the same time, there's something that we can do to improve the reproduction.
Like we saw today, when you were getting eggs out of the female and semen out of the males, and you use that in your reproduction.
Exactly. So the heifer is already 7 years old. So first of all, she is past that point where she should have been pregnant. She's cyclic, but actually she doesn't produce ovulation. And what we've done today is that we have actually stimulated her to come on heat, come on estrus. So we down-regulate the ovary by removing all the eggs out of it, and then we get a flush of hormones out of it. And that flush of hormones actually makes her to come in estrus. Once she comes on estrus, the bull will mate her and cover her. The idea with the semen is twofold. First of all, we do research in terms of freezing and thawing semen so that we can biobank the semen. Because it doesn't help you freeze semen, but when you thaw it, it's still dead. If you have all these pockets of populations of rhinos around the world, but in Africa, and you go into a high inbreeding coefficient, then you actually cause deterioration of fertility and growth, etc., and that makes it that you need new genetics. If you move a whole animal, so first of all the expenses of moving the whole animal and the risk of the lives of this animal, moving it across borders, boundaries, across continents actually as well. You can actually move diseases across borders, yes. But also that animal is susceptible to the diseases that it hasn't been exposed to. So it actually can die in this newer environment. So by moving semen or genetics through semen and embryos, you move that animal without moving the animal. So by just doing this one simple thing about semen collection freezing, we already do biobanking, we improve artificial insemination, we improve IVF, and we move genetics all across continents. In the beginning, it took us 35 rhino to get the first egg. Now we got an average of 6.4 over the year, and today 13 eggs. I mean, that's dramatic.
Yeah.
And once that cycle is stimulated, she naturally comes on heat 3 years in succession. So if we get a cow and she's like 15 or 18 years old and she's not cycling or whatever, and we stimulate that she gets pregnant, she will have another 5 or 6 calves during her lifetime. Each of them would be normal when they start at birth. They will not have to do the procedure again. Each of them will have another 10 calves. So we will have 55 calves by saving one animal. One of these procedures costs us $2,300. But the trickle-down effect of it's exponentially. So saving the one animal is $2,300. But if you then divide that by 55, I mean, we have done a great...
Technically, you know, to save a rhino, $2,300, it's not that expensive. And then what it does, it takes a whole population of rhinos that were orphaned or their parents were poached, and they go into that protective mode. You change that whole cycle, and then it just goes naturally from there.
Right, it opens up
absolutely naturally, and that's something very positive.
Okay, so what about the species, the northern white rhino? There's only 2 of them left in the world.
Yes, Nayan and Fatu, the 2 cows. I had not such great privilege to put down Sudan, the last northern white rhino bull. So we've taken genetics of him, etc. So part of this project that we're doing with the southern white rhino, again, working on the southern white rhino, we're multiplying the southern white rhino, but we can do the work on the northern white rhino. That northern white rhino, we can multiply the genetics with IVF once we are 100% successful. If you do IVF, the next step is cloning. There's lots of DNA available. There's 21 DNA samples available of northern white rhino across the world. 5 or 6 bulls semen is available, and that's enough to create a population. The last 40,000-50,000 white rhino was at the Srisui Park, and they bred up to 30,000. So think if we have 21 cell cultures, we've got 6 different bull semen stored in flask, and we've got those 2 cows. So it's not just the 2 cows, it is all that other genetics. So yes, we can even save the northern white rhino. And I know there's a lot to say about the mammoth and the thylacine and whatever, but these are recent species. I mean, the northern white rhino is functional extinct. 2 females, so no male. So they basically functional extinct. By utilizing assisted reproduction is the only way that we can multiply them and bring them back. And if people start understanding that, let's start doing it before it's too late. Let's start doing the work on elephant and southern white rhino and Sumatran rhino and bongo and grevies, and before it's too late.
Before it's too late, right?
And then we want to try and turn back the clock, and then people say, no, they're already extinct, why bring? So then it starts becoming a political game. Whilst we've got the knowledge at the moment, because of animals like the northern white rhino, let's utilize that knowledge and our mismanagement of that to stop the slide of extinction. Funding is a big problem, and thank you for your support. I really appreciate it, and even the support of being here today means a lot. I mean, you live for people like you coming and seeing and enjoying, but also appreciate what we're doing, and failing, because a lot of times we also fail, but we live for those little battles that you win. You haven't won the war yet, but you got to look at every little battle, and people like you support those battles. That you are the hands that carry us forward emotionally and financially. And at the moment we are producing morilla embryos, and just that final hurdle, and people that understands embryology and ladies that has done IVF knows that you want the blastocysts, and that's just the next step.